I think I figured out what's truly been missing as far as pro wrestling goes. And no, it's not Daniel Bryan, and it's not CM Punk, and it's not Adam Cole, it's not Brock Lesnar, it's not Becky Lynch. I think it's just surprises. Now, I know on the surface you're going to say to yourself, DT, No, seriously, think about that. I mean, yeah, we didn't expect Brock Lesnar to return, but we knew Becky Lynch was going to return. We knew ultimately CM Punk was going to sign, probably Daniel Bryan. But that's something from the Monday Night Wars that I absolutely, truly miss. Big time surprises, swerves, things go not exactly the way you expected it to go. Told you last night. Told you. We talked about it with Cesaro last night, when Cesaro had that match with Roman Reigns. Everybody thought that Cesaro was finally going to get pushed, remain an upper card main eventer, and Cesaro knew that he was going to get attacked by Seth Rollins that night. But I'm sure there was a little part of him that, he was hoping that, maybe they changed their mind and I'll walk to the back after my match with Roman Reigns and everybody will be in the gorilla position clapping me and it'll be part of a 24. No. Before Cesaro's carcass was in the back, as soon as he lost that match, changed the subject. Seth Rollins beats the living crap out of him. Change it away. And as we said yesterday, when Christian loses tonight in the main event against Kenny Omega, before you can even let it sink in about Christian, we're going to have surprises. Adam Cole, not baby. Daniel Bryan, very possible. Not only did we get one of them, we got both. Great time to be a wrestling fan. Obviously, their appearances at the end is going to overshadow a lot of tonight. One person we talked about last night also. There we go. I'm not sure. King of Games. Much love. What a show, right? Can't wait for Wednesday. Absolutely love it. Much love. By the way, I apologize if tonight's overlay, I know you can see my hands, but tonight's overlay may look a little bit low budget and not so professional. The one that I originally made, I accidentally deleted it. And because my recycle bin was so freaking large with files, it just deleted everything. I could not restore it. So I scrambled to do something tonight, and I basically just took my thumbnail for tonight's show and just put my screen over it. It's better than nothing. But man, what a great night. What a great night. AEW All Out is in the books. Now, I'm not going to stay here and spend every little minute about every little match. We will overview it. I will tell you, seriously, I mean, we know the toxicity that is online with a lot of wrestling fans that don't like AEW. But tonight is truly an example that even if you don't like AEW, when you have fans out, and this is the thing that really summarizes it for me as far as what I see online with a lot of people. I talked about this before. When I was a wrestling fan during the Monday Night Wars, Kieran O'Neill, welcome to the family, my friend. Welcome to the family. Mwah! When I was a wrestling fan during the Monday Night Wars, one thing that I vividly remember, because I covered it even on the wrestling hotlines, I started in 97. That was right before the Montreal screw job. NWO already in full force. Obviously, we were right in the heat of Monday Night Wars. But the one thing I could tell you, without even hesitation, that even if you were a diehard WCW fan, even if you were a diehard WWF fan, for me, my number one promotion was ECW. The one thing that was awesome, and I'm going to try not to curse tonight, but the one thing that was awesome is that if you were going to school, Yeah, it was funny when kids used to go to school, and the biggest problem is, they get their you'd be surprised how many times this happens. The parents would get called from the principals. Little Tommy is in the principal's office. Why is that? Because little Tommy will not stop telling the teachers to suck it, suck it, suck it. That's all you would see, people. Or middle fingers with Steve Austin. But the one thing that is different now compared to then is whether you were a diehard WWF fan, WCW fan, ECW fan, everybody bragged about being a wrestling fan. When you had the ratings and you had 10 million people, 12 million people tuning into wrestling every week, and every other show out there is like, why is this so popular? And you see people on cereal boxes, people on this. Look, soap, talking soap. You drop the soap, now what? Jackass? We were proud to be wrestling fans. Even if your best friend liked the rival, I loved ECW. And even my friends would say that violent, hardcore crap, but we all bragged about being wrestling fans. Today, to see what's going on, man, because you like AEW, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, you're this. And then something sad happens. Oh, we should all get together. We should all be better people. We should all respect each other and what they like, even if it's not. And then a couple of days later, it's right back to what it was before. Be proud to be a wrestling fan. And if you don't like AEW, I don't know why you would be tuning in tonight. I don't think I'm that good. But even if you don't like AEW, and you got your friends or people you communicate online that absolutely are just eating this up and spitting it out. And it's like a dog. It's like a dog that eats something too fast, throws it up. And what does the dog do? The dog eats the throw up again. I mean, have you ever seen that with a dog? Like he'll throw up and he'll start eating the throw up. They'll eat AEW. They'll spit it out, eat it again, spit it out. NXT, WWE, New Japan, MLW, whatever you love. We should all brag. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Period. Shout out to everybody who was with me live tonight. Shout out to Austin Nance, who is tonight's guest moderator. That doesn't mean that Mish can't still do it, or Lee. I think Mish may be at All Out tonight. So I haven't talked to him today. But we will do some guest moderators from time to time. People who I trust. And Austin will run the ship today. Anyway, great pay-per-view. Let's talk about it. Now, I will say this. Forgive me about some less than primitive pictures. I literally came in here about 45 seconds after AEW went off the air. That was the best picture I could find of Bryan Danielson, a.k.a. Daniel Bryan, making his debut tonight. Got a little bit of a better picture of Adam Cole making his appearance tonight. A lot of people thought he was going to be attacking Kenny Omega. Nope, not the case. Mark Anderson, you should be able to love AEW and WWE like it shouldn't be a damn competition. I agree, dude. I agree. That's what I love about my shows here in the climate. One thing when I started going video a year and a half ago is I vowed that when everybody comes here to hang out, nobody's going to call you stupid because you like this or you don't like something else. And vice versa. There's a lot of places out there, that will just totally rip, a certain promotion, and they'll post fake news. And when they get caught posting fake news, instead of just owning up to it or maybe doing a better job, they will insist that news is real. Billionaires will tell you the truth. No, they're liars. Even if it influenced the stock market illegally, they're liars. Don't pay attention to those people. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. Tonight was an awesome shirt. Oh, I almost said awesome shirt because I'm looking at the chat room at the same time. Yeah, Adam Cole's shirt looks really freaking cool. I am definitely picking one up. Absolutely. I'm sure they've already designed some Bryan Danielson merchandise. So we'll see what comes out. And hell, there's still rumors about Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, and a few others. Now, the big challenge for AEW right now, and I think you'll all agree on this, where do you put these guys? Seriously, think about that for a minute. I have been trying to beat this in everybody's heads for a couple of months now. You know, when you look at that roster, you know, AEW Dark is an internet show designed for the rookies and up-and-comers and maybe some people who need to get some ring rust out of their system. Elevation is supposed to be maybe like the AA, you know, and I don't mean Arn Anderson, like the next step up. Dynamite is prime time, and Rampage is not supposed to be Dynamite light. Daria Mesa, welcome. Welcome. I know my arms are a little brighter than New Day's, but you can see them. Welcome. Rampage is not supposed to be the third hour of Dynamite, but you can put a match on there once in a while, hence Pac versus Andrade. Idolo. But let's think about this for a minute. Say what you want about Andrade. He is employed by AEW for 13 weeks. One match. Pac. Remember when he was number one contender for so long? And then they put him in the three-way match with him, with Kenny Omega and Orange Cassidy. They blew their load with Pac. And what has happened since? Backstage skits for the most part. They're not really doing much with Pac. Look, showing my love for Abaddon tonight. Man, 1 minute and out of there. So you really got to take a step back and think about this. You look at the Dark Order. All right, the Dark Order, you know, they're over still, and you see what's going on. There's no time for them for TV. Jake Hager, we talked about it yesterday. How many matches has he had in recent memory? Wardlow, how many matches has he had in recent memory? Sammy Guevara, he just got engaged. How many matches has he had recently? Santana and Ortiz, sure. You know, FTR was not in action because of the injury. Ryan Becerra, first time buying an AEW pay-per-view, was worth every penny. Well done this night, September 5th. I agree with you 100%. $49.99 is a nice amount of chump change. But I tell you, you bang out stuff like we got today, I mean, every dollar well spent. But getting back what I was saying, now you got Adam Cole on that show. Now you got CM Punk on that show. Now you got Bryan Danielson on that show. All right. Now you got some others rumored to be coming in. Malachi Black. You know, we've talked about it. Right? Look how long Malachi Black has already signed AEW, and he's had a match against Brock Anderson. Cody for 2 minutes. Lee Johnson Friday, which was not bad. And now he's going to get Dustin on Wednesday. I don't think that's how I would have used Malachi if I had him for 2 months. I'd have been working that son of his ass off. Like, wow, you're really making me earn my pay. Do you see the common denominator of what I'm talking about? A lot of these guys are working like less than part-time schedules. And if you're going to use them as part-time schedules, wrestling once every 3 to 4 weeks, fine. Problem is, when they eat up a lot of these big storylines, what happens to everybody else that's on this roster that's trying to step up? I mean, everybody complained about NXT, you know, going, you know, losing focus, not doing what they were doing back in the day that gave us Sasha and everybody else. And you have all these up-and-comers, and then they get blindsided because this person comes in, and 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 this person comes in. What are we going to have? 3-hour Dynamites and 3-hour Rampage to give everybody a spot? That's why it's going to be really interesting to see how these people are used. I will bet you I will bet you that Bryan Danielson, will wrestle less than, what is this, September? 5 matches for the rest of the year. 5 or 6 at the most. Right? I mean, you think about the touring, you think about house shows, you think about the pay-per-views not again until November. So we need, still Hangman Pages. Yes, he's been gone because of, his wife giving birth. God bless him. But there's a lot of other people on that roster that are just like, I don't think the wrestlers are complaining all that much. Think about it. Like I said, especially with Andrade. That guy's got 3 months with WWE, no compete, sit at home, collect the pay for 3 months. Then he works for AEW and wrestles 1 match in 3 months. That guy got a half a year's worth of pay, and all he did was wrestle 4 minutes. Not bad. Not bad. Does it feel, let me say this right off the bat. Number one, yesterday, some of you had some issues with YouTube with the audio and the video being out of sync. Everybody on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else, Twitch, had no problems whatsoever. When I played back the video last night, after about a half an hour, everything was good, and I had gotten an email. There was a mass email sent out by YouTube saying that they would have some sync issues. The playback from yesterday's show was fine. There was no sync issues. If some of you are lagging, that's got to be YouTube or on your end, because my connection is fine. So I don't know why it's doing that. I haven't changed anything here, but if I have to reboot everything tomorrow, I will. So anyway, let's talk about tonight's show, because it's already here, 12:15 a.m. Even though tomorrow is Labor Day, I actually have to work half a day. So I got to get up at 6:30 in the morning. So we'll talk about the pay-per-view, just brief overall, thoughts on it. Easily my favorite pay-per-view of the year so far. CM Punk versus Darby Allin delivered. Darby Allin, I tell you, I'm very, very happy with Chicago showing a lot of love to Darby Allin as well. Look, obviously CM Punk is Chicago's hometown boy. Just like Bret Hart in Canada, just like others throughout the years. Just because CM Punk has been sorely missed for 7 years, and maybe not even sorely missed, because there was a time when CM Punk absolutely hated pro wrestling. And a lot of people out there did not like CM Punk's attitude either. CM Punk ventured into MMA. CM Punk had a lot of things negative to say about pro wrestling. We all put that aside now because we're wrestling fans, and he has finally found the passion again. And CM Punk in wrestling is better than CM Punk outside of wrestling. So I am happy he's back. But just because he's back, Nir Rofei, much love. Shana Tova to all the Jews. Happy Labor Day. Nir Rofei is tuning in all the way from Israel right now. Much love, my brother. Did you get my box yet? I shipped you something about 10 days ago. I don't know if you got it yet. Don't super chat that. I'll see it in the chat. But, CM Punk back is a wonderful thing. Just because he's back, you should not be forced to love the guy, to everybody is Chicago today. That's what I saw written about 50 times. No. What kind of shit is that? Everybody is Chicago. You say that about New York after 9/11. You don't say it because somebody returns to wrestling who spit on wrestling for many years, and deservingly so. WWE gave him that horrible taste in his mouth. I don't blame CM Punk for hating wrestling for what he went through. But tonight, that Chicago crowd showed a lot of love to Darby Allin as well. And there were parts tonight, let's go Darby. Well, CM Punk's chants were 10 times louder. But Darby Allin put on a great performance tonight. He did all his patent moves, but he shows he can, not only could he wrestle, and if you ever watched Darby Allin matches before he even came to AEW, this guy could actually wrestle. And not only that, he is great with reversals. and you saw bing, 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 him going up against CM Punk, this is CM Punk's first match back. As time goes on, CM Punk will just get better and better and better. For his first time out, did an excellent job. But there were points, and I think even the deepest CM Punk fans will admit to this, that there were points where Darby Allin kind of had to pull it back a notch a little bit because, High Hole Silver, relax. He's a lot younger. He's still got those fresh legs. But the match was great. Darby Allin with this freaking skateboard, which is awesome. And I saw a lot of people saying that Darby Allin should put that up for auction for charity. Now, I'm not trying to be selfish here. I have raised over 10 grand in charity over the years, going back to Katrina and a lot of other causes that we have done. But honestly, if I was Darby Allin, oh man, you don't auction that off. Darby Allin's got to have a little mantle, a little cabinet in his house, and every memorable big time match that he has, there should be a skateboard with that painted on it. Then you look back 10 years in his career, 15 years in his career. Obviously, you don't want to paint the skateboard for every person, but that goes in his display. Yes, you're right, Austin. That's something you cherish. I give that guy a hell of a lot of credit because a little over a year ago, I was still calling him Darby Dumbass when he was jumping off of bridges. Yes, he's an adrenaline junkie. No, I don't think anybody denies that. He is an adrenaline junkie. He's addicted to adrenaline. But he also has a big contract with AEW, and there has to be a little bit of a balance. And you could see Darby Allin is really starting to develop into a huge star. And look at his size. Look at his size. Nobody complains about his size anymore. The guy could do it. I mean, it's true. It's true. We're sick of seeing everybody do a tope suicida. When Darby Allin does it, I don't know, it's just something a little different about it. So props to those two guys. Also, I'll say this, and I'm sorry I didn't have the greatest photos prepared for tonight, but I tell you, man, for the first couple of seconds, I had to get used to seeing CM Punk wearing the long tights. But I got to be honest with you, I absolutely loved him. It makes him look taller. I don't know. And look, yes, when you're wrestling against Darby Allin, obviously everybody looks taller. But it really does complement CM Punk's physique. I love the pants. I love it. If I was him, I would leave this. It's a great look. I like it. They're not bad. They're really not bad. And look, we talked about it 2 weeks ago when we were taking calls. And by the way, tomorrow, Mish and I will be live. We will cover Raw. But we're also going to dedicate about a half an hour, 45 minutes for the phone lines for anybody that wants to call in to talk, let this digest a little bit. And we'll talk about everything that went down today and any questions you may have about some of these guys that debuted. It's going to be interesting to see who challenges who. Right now, it seems like CM Punk is not in the mix, with the Kenny Omega stuff or anything like that. That could change very, very quickly. But there's some obvious big-time shifts in some of these wrestlers. And my goodness. And yes, I segue anywhere I want tonight. Props to these guys. This was the only match that I predicted wrong tonight. And I was only kidding when I said that I was going to do karaoke tonight to the Lucha Brothers theme. I cannot duplicate what Ruckus and that other guy did tonight. They killed it. That match, anybody that's been listening or watching my show for the last 2 weeks, I said the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks is the match that I'm looking forward to more than anything else. CM Punk I obviously was looking forward to. I didn't think that there was going to be any issue with the guy because he's been wrestling and training with these guys for quite some time now. So they knew exactly what CM Punk could and could not do. But these guys, the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, just make magic. And they killed it. They absolutely killed it. And I honestly did not think that the Young Bucks were going to lose those belts tonight. I honestly thought it was going to happen in New York. And even the team that was going to beat them was not the Lucha Brothers. And let me tell you, Rey Fenix, very, very scary sometimes, some of the things that he does. I mean, we've watched over the last year and a half him do some moves that totally unnecessary, uncalled for, and he got injured a couple of times as a result. You could even see Rey Fenix, pulling back just a little bit. You could tease stuff, but he pulls back just a little bit. And say what you want, man, about the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks, I still absolutely love the fact that people still cannot accept the fact that they are heels and they are just trolling fans. Trolling fans with their look, wearing the expensive sneakers, just getting under people's skin, and yes, they are a spot fest. And if you remember the early days of Dynamite, I used to talk about their matches of video game rules. But you see all the teams that they have good matches with, whether it's Jurassic Express, Private Party, FTR, Lucha Brothers. And yes, those teams are talented also, but there's just something about the Young Bucks when you see them face these guys. I honestly can't think really much of a match involving the Young Bucks versus two other people that sucked. Those guys just go balls out no matter what. Kenny Omega, though, and please do not get mad when I'm going to say. Anybody who tunes in every week knows exactly what I'm going to say. Kenny Omega has turned into a sports entertainer. For the last 6-7 months, Kenny Omega has become a sports entertainer. In the end, that will prolong his career. Kenny Omega could still have 5-star matches. What Kenny Omega has realized with the amount of work that he has to do behind the scenes for AEW, which even if he wasn't a wrestler, that would be a crazy amount of work. But this guy has finally realized that he doesn't have to have 7-star matches every time out for the fans to be into it. Sure, some hardcore, deep fans of his that go back to New Japan especially are not thrilled with the current Kenny Omega. But, you have to accept it when you realize how important Kenny Omega is, not only in front of the camera or behind the camera. But you're getting to see sports entertainment infused in AEW a little bit more. And guess what? People are starting to realize what's wrong with that. What's wrong with that? We got a dusty finish tonight. Dusty finish. Jericho versus MJF. Now, when Jericho came out, he had that look on his face that everybody was tweeting, oh, this guy is definitely losing tonight. He is choked up. If you remember my predictions, I said Jericho could lose and leave, but they sent so many mixed messages. One commentator says if he loses, he can't wrestle for AEW anymore. Another commentator says if he loses, his wrestling career is over. You would think a week ago, Tony Khan gathers the commentators and say, look, if he loses, he's not going to wrestle in AEW. We're not trying to make it seem like he can't wrestle anywhere anymore, period. This isn't Ric Flair, even though Ric Flair did wrestle after WWE, if you think about it. But even today, Tony Schiavone made a remark when Jericho was having his match against MJF and he was outside the ring. Jericho was on the floor, and I'm trying to pull it up. Tony Schiavone makes a remark. I actually wrote it down. He says, This may be the final count in Chris Jericho's AEW career. They sent so many different mixed messages for the last couple of weeks. They wanted it to be more, and it didn't need to be more. Just like, you know what it reminded me of, and I know I brought this up before, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. Everybody was into the Matt Hardy-Sammy Guevara feud already. And then very early on in Matt Hardy's AEW career, he has that match at the stadium, and they add the stipulation that if he loses, he's gone from AEW. Why would you do that? Everybody and their mother knows he's not leaving that early. So what happens? They take the awful fall from the top, and no one, not even Matt Hardy, because he's the consummate professional, no one is ever going to admit this publicly because it would be lambasted for medical reasons. That's why Rebby Hardy was so angry and irate about that night, because they did the dumb stipulation that if Matt Hardy loses, he's gone from AEW, and AEW is obsessed with keeping the stipulations. He took that fall. They didn't even think about, oh, he could lose. No, he can't continue. That's it. Sammy wins. But wait, we did that stipulation. If he loses, he's gone from AEW. We can't do that. The fans trust us with this stuff. That's what happened. No one will admit it. God, the people online trying to get a job, trying to get some acknowledgement from AEW. I mean, everything's epic, amazing, unbelievable. Let me die tomorrow and I'm happy. It's, some people are just way over the top. So you do that with Jericho, it just had to be, look, if he loses, he can't wrestle inside an AEW ring anymore. He commentates. And people would have bought into it because they could picture MJF wrestling in the ring and mocking Chris Jericho when he's in the announcer's desk. You want to come here? Oh, you can't. You're retired. They could have done that and teased it and made MJF even a bigger a-hole. But they sent mixed messages. And by sending the mixed messages, as we said yesterday, just felt Jericho is not losing today. And Jericho, against MJF, originally he loses, but his foot is on the rope. And the second referee comes over, no, his foot was on the rope. And the commentators are like, look, if a match with this importance, they got to get it right. Well, if that's the case, why didn't the second referee come over and disqualify MJF for using the bat? Right? Ain't brain surgery. But they did the Dusty finish. Aubrey Edwards restarts the match. The crowd ate it up. You see, sports entertainment can be good. It's not a horrible curse word in AEW. It's how you use it and who you use it with. So what happens? Jericho ends up winning, and Jericho probably takes some time off anyway. No harm done. No harm done. By the way, I loved MJF's intro today. Mocking Chris Jericho, 1999, the countdown. Maybe this even looks like when he came back the second time around with the countdown. Still very reminiscent of Jericho's Raw debut. They counted it down to 0, and then they did this. Jericho's last match. I kind of wish that MJF would have had the jacket. Be full-fledged jerk. Rolo says TNA 2008 greater than AEW 2021. It's two different promotions. And one thing people need to understand, wrestling reinvents itself and does take characters, storylines, stipulations, and they recycle. Wrestling is recycled for 50, 60, 70 years. Not so much 50, 60, 70 years ago because wrestling was awfully boring at times. Put a headlock on someone for a minute and a half. Do that today and watch how the fans react. You know, I think the only thing that's reminiscent today from back then is fruit roll-ups, you know. But, yeah, Kevin, you're right. It's cyclical. It's cyclical. There's nothing wrong. I know we've talked about this phrase before, but if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Just because WWE has done dusty finishes way too much doesn't mean that if AEW does it, that they're copying WWE. No, because WWE copied someone else. All right. John Cena has the Super Cena cartoon T-shirt. Everybody jumps. Not everybody, but some jump and, they copied off a CM Punk shirt. No, there was actually other wrestling shirts also using that before CM Punk did. Things recreate itself. Why is it such a bad thing? If something's being recreated and it involves people you like and it's done good, enjoy it. Embrace it. Right? By the way, we talked about it yesterday. I am emotionally spent from Wednesday, Thursday, and yesterday. So we're not going to get into more Daphne stuff tonight. I mean, to be continued, and I may actually have one of our very close friends on one of my shows in the very near future. Because, look, when you're friends with someone, you obviously dedicate a little bit extra time compared to others, but I am just baffled at the amount of people out there that just, in passing, I'm talking about people who write, do shows, blue check marks, no blue check mark, whatever it is. I mean, just really didn't make a big deal about it. The bunny tonight, very, very cool. She actually wrote Daph on her wristband. She had a nice performance tonight, too. And speaking of women having a good night tonight and performances, yes, she debuted. Let me tell you something. Kevin Owens said it great today. This is something. Tall man. Tall. Welcome, my friend. Trolling is not allowed here. Something that has changed on social media and wrestling in the last year especially. And look, I am not in any way, shape, or form trying to say that the passing of Brody Lee really blew this open. But I've been on the internet since the early 90s, and I have seen for a very long time where the competitors cannot really socialize with competitors, not even communicate online all that much publicly. Once in a while, you see people at a party and this and that. And the reason why I know is because, and I've told this story before, the second annual CM Punk Chris Candido Memorial Show. The reason why I thought about CM Punk is CM Punk was on the first one. The second annual Chris Candido Memorial Show that I was involved in, Tommy Dreamer was there. And Tommy Dreamer was still working for WWE. And there were TNA people there as well. And at that time, what a lot of people were freaking out about inside wrestling is that, oh my God, people working behind the scenes for WWE are going to be at a show with people who are working for TNA. They better not talk about business. Because what do you always hear online? Oh, Adam Cole could not negotiate with Tony Khan until his contract is over. Yeah, publicly, absolutely. You get in trouble for that. That doesn't mean that they haven't had a couple of conversations over the past couple of months. Jericho did it in 99. A lot of people do it. It's just you can't officially discuss business until contract is up. The minute Adam Cole's contract was officially over with AEW, he pretty much already knew what he was looking for. Tony Khan already knew what Adam Cole was looking for. Tony Khan, through Britt Baker, who lives with Adam Cole, knows exactly. I mean, it's no different from 10, 15, 20 years ago, but you can't officially do anything until a contract is officially over. So Ruby Riott, today makes her debut in AEW. And one thing I was leading to with the Brody Lee passing is, you would see, I remember like a New Year's Eve party from the year before, and you see like somebody from AEW in the same room with somebody from WWE. And look, the wrestlers don't make a big deal about it, but everybody online is like, oh, do you see who's hanging out with this person? That's what people would do. When Brody Lee passed, I mean, everybody was like, no, fuck business. I cursed. The hell with business. I'm talking as a friend, and we're extended family. So every wrestler was retweeting comments from other organizations, and deep down inside, Vince McMahon is irate with stuff like that. But you see the difference, and I'll show you the difference. Remember Darren Young? Darren Young wrote something. I don't remember exactly what he wrote on social media, but he tweeted something from the WWE Twitter account of his with Darren Young's name on it. Darren Young had a second Twitter account for his personal name. Now, I don't remember exactly what Darren Young wrote. Maybe somebody in the chat room remembers, you can write it. But when Darren Young made the remark, and it was controversial, WWE I pretty much pull it and pretty much said that he was tweeting from a WWE social media account. So because it came from Darren Young, the WWE character, and not his personal name, WWE had a conniption with it. Does anybody remember what that tweet was? But so my point is, it was not that long ago when people were using their WWE Twitter account, take a stance or comment about something, and WWE would be totally, that Twitter account is part of WWE. And that is to be used for WWE purposes. Now, in recent memory, you see a lot of WWE wrestlers that will retweet AEW wrestlers, Impact Wrestling, current events, really taking real hard stances on things, politics, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, this, and everything would just, go through. I'm looking on the chat to see if anybody remembers. I don't think anybody remembers. So now you have wrestlers in all companies that will just go right out and say what they want to say. Kevin Owens wrote today, and I quote, "It's awesome when good things happen to good people, but it's even better when good things happen to great people." You had a lot of wrestlers in WWE. Dakota Kai was in tears today. Liv Morgan was in tears. They were all hashtagging Ruby Soho. They absolutely loved her debut. They loved the crowd reaction. They loved the vignettes. They were retweeting the teaser videos that Ruby was doing. A lot of them knew that she was signing with AEW. For her closest friends, they knew what she was doing. And they still, with pride, shouted out their friend, WWE Twitter account and all. So that is something that is really changed. And it was wonderful to see today. I mean, I tell you, when Ruby was Ruby Riott, you go back and you watch the matches, even before COVID, a lot of fans, they can give two craps about Ruby Riott. Not much reaction. You go on social media, when Ruby Riott was on a losing streak, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's just, she just doesn't fit in. Get rid of her, this and that. But you see what happens when someone, it's perceived that they're not getting a fair shake, and then they're cut loose to no fault of their own. And a lot of people became a Ruby Soho fan, a Ruby Riott fan, not because of how great she was in the ring, not because of the hard work she was putting in the ring, but because they knew she was talented, and they realized that WWE just did not utilize her the way they want to. See, WWE has a very big problem. It has nothing to do with it being a tattooed chick with dyed hair. Almost everybody's in WWE's hair is dyed. Have you looked at it? Yeah, I think the only color we haven't had recently is yellow hair. All right. And a lot of women do have tattoos. Rhea Ripley, one half of the team, Rhea. So the internet and the wrestling community just poured out today for Ruby Soho because people realized how much this woman really cared about wrestling. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. She was let go. She was very emotional about it. Her friends were very emotional. Men, women, NXT, WWE. A lot of people were like, no, out of everybody, her. WWE has a terrible, terrible problem elevating women unless they're in a main event. If you notice that. They have a hard time elevating women unless they're featured in main events. And I didn't buy that Nikki Ash stuff. That night that she debuted that character, it took a day or two for me to appreciate that character and understand it. Hell Knight 666, welcome to the family, my friend. But, Mish and I had a debate, and I said, let's see a month from now. Let's see how much she's pushed on TV. Up until the day she lost that title, she never got a clean win against anybody. WWE never looked at Nikki Ash as a main eventer. She may have main evented. Yeah, so did Daniel Garcia. And so did Brock Anderson. And so did some others. That doesn't mean anything. You could tell when somebody has the Jets behind their back and being pushed. Ruby Riott, because they weren't pushing her to a championship, she was in purgatory. You look at SmackDown, unless your name is Becky, well, Natty and Tamina, because they're tag champs, unless your name is Becky, Sasha, or Bianca right now, everybody else is regulated to skits, losing, dark match, this. Doesn't feel like they're main eventers. People could win tag titles. It doesn't mean that they feel like they're main eventers. WWE has a horrible time doing that. AEW is also. But AEW, the difference between AEW and WWE, and I know this is going to anger some people out there. It may anger women more than men. The difference between AEW and WWE is that AEW does not try to give you 50% women's matches and 50% men's matches. WWE sometimes will put 3-4 women's matches on a show, and 3 out of the 4 people will be like, this match sucked. They got 3 minutes. Because when you look at the results 5 years from now, look, there was 3 women's matches and 5 men. Oh, the women, they're a little bit in more time. They're making it. It's all about what's looked at on paper. At least AEW, because their women's division is not on the level of the men's division yet. They don't force the narrative, and that does piss off a lot of people. Somebody wrote today, in a year from now, can we have more than 2 women's matches on a show? Yes, as women progress and develop and get better. And, but AEW's got to give them the time. I think people truly would rather see one AEW's women's match on Dynamite that kicks ass, that's given 12, 15 minutes, than to have 2 or 3 and combine their 12 to 15 minutes. Layla Hirsch is a perfect example of that. And I'm sorry for cursing again. This is my second curse tonight. I'm going to keep them under 5. But you see Layla Hirsch take on Camille in NWA. And you see how much time she was allowed to work and tell a story. And you see, Layla, when she wrestles in NWA, Layla Hirsch is legit. When she wrestles in AEW, Layla Hirsch is treated like shit. She gets a couple of minutes, and that's it. She gets tossed like a salad. So AEW's got to do a better job. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the matches tonight. Put this in a corner. Actually, you know what? Before I even do that, let's talk about the buy-in. Pretty much your typical, almost opening match like you would see on Dynamite. Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, and Jurassic Express. They go on to defeat Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2. It was a fun opening match. This was part of the buy-in. And we'll talk about a little bit more of Ruby Soho in a few minutes because I have a few things to say about that women's battle royal. But this opening match was a lot of fun. It was your typical match. Matt Hardy obviously is still dealing with a pretty serious nose injury, so couldn't do all that much. I think the big news coming out of this match is that the Butcher, and I know some of you out there, my God, you think of a year and a half ago when we used to joke about the Butcher and the Blade. They look like the ice cream men. But, we've been paying close attention. The Butcher got himself in incredible shape. Problem is, a lot of that weight loss was health issues. Butcher has had some pretty legit health issues. So even though if the Butcher and the Blade are not that high on your list, it was really good to see that guy back because there was little rumblings here and there, that the Butcher and the Blade may not, really be much of a tag team in the future. So it was good to see him back. After the match was over, that's when you had the Hardy family office, attacking Orange Cassidy. Butcher shows up. And then Matt Hardy teases that he's going to cut Orange Cassidy's hair. And then you had everybody make the save. Jungle Boy, John Silver, and others. So, I don't know if this is going to segue into the Dark Order versus the Hardy family in some capacity. I don't know. But, remember what I said before, that they're having a very tough time managing some of their stars. Look at Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. Yes, they were there with Dan Lambert last week, but look how substantially their in-ring time on Dynamite has been trimmed and cut. We talked about it with the Dark Order earlier. You see it's starting to develop that there is a group of people, and you can't have 10 people factions across the board, just so people get on TV. Because at the end of the day, people want to see people wrestling. After a while, I mean, my God, I don't want to compare it to WCW, but when the NWO first formed, even before they formed, I mean, it was really all about the Four Horsemen and before then the Dangerous Alliance. And yes, there were other cliques, but for the most part, everybody with factions with WCW, everybody was into the Dangerous Alliance and the Four Horsemen. You had the Faces of Fear, you had others as well. But when the NWO formed, it was cool. Everybody wanted to be a part of the NWO until everybody was part of the NWO. Then people were getting sick of factions, and everybody had a faction. The LWO, the Filthy Animals, this. And, it got old pretty quick. Kris, what did I post on Twitter? I'm curious. Anyway, so opening match. Now we could go. Now we could put it up. Opening match tonight, Miro versus Eddie Kingston. Loud Eddie chants. Redeem these nuts chants. That shirt sold so many shirts, especially with this 20% off deal that AEW is offering right now. Oh, my God. Willis is saying that I sound like a Debbie Downer right now. What the hell are you talking about? I'm praising everything. AEW is just going to be careful. I don't know, maybe he's chatting and listening to another show. I don't know. But this match was off the hook. I think a lot of people expected Miro to retain. A lot of people thought that Lana, CJ Perry was going to appear tonight. If they would have watched social media, they probably would have figured out that she was home because, the whole thing with Miro with being the redeemer, redeem these nuts. And she's basically on social media, basically saying, Miro, after you beat him, come home so I can redeem those nuts. Yeah, she actually writes that stuff on social media. That's got to be awesome, seriously, to have a significant other. I don't care if it's male, female, whatever. But to have someone like that, and when you're coming home, you're getting treated like royalty, man. CJ Perry. Wait, who that? Oh. Okay. I got to show something to all of you. You'll appreciate this. We'll go back to that in a minute. CM Punk ice cream bars. You know the controversy with eBay? I got my hands on a couple of wrappers. One I gave out to Kris L last week, won a trivia contest, gets the CM Punk shirt and the ice cream wrapper. People trying to sell for crazy stuff online. Anybody that's been tuning into me for years knows what I'm about to say. If anybody that's new, please do not get upset by this. But I got to throw it out there. I've been saying for 20 plus years, nothing is free. Nothing is free. Eventually, everybody pays. I don't care if it's, I do care it's COVID. But, when you see what's going on, your hamburger deluxe goes from $7.95 to $16.95. A gallon of gas goes from $2.05 to $3.70. Nothing is free. You may give something out to someone for free at first. Trust me, this leads into the CM Punk ice cream bars. You could give something for free. In the end, everybody pays. I always bring back with politics. When Barack Obama first became president and they were doing Obamacare, there was a woman in college, I think her name was Sandra Fluke, something like that. And she insisted that women get free birth control. Now, I'm an insurance broker. I have my own agency since 1998, still around, thank God. And when she was pushing for free birth control for all women and fighting, and she got it, she spoke at the Democratic National Convention. Trust me, I promise you this is worth. Don't get upset when just give me one more minute to explain it. She was at the Democratic National Convention and got to speak. Now she fought for free birth control. I swear on whatever you believe in, God, no God, but I swear what I'm about to say is true. When the insurance companies, the health insurance companies, sent the memos to all the agents and said, as of whatever date it was, that birth control will now be included on all the health plans. You had the Sandra Fluke and people bragging on TV that we fought, and we got free birth control for all women. I swear on God, about a month later, I get a memo in the mail in my office saying that effective whatever date it was, the health insurance policies were going up $85 a month. Women's birth control was not free. They added it, and then they raised the price. It's like going to a diner, and you're like, man, you give cheeseburgers, you don't give fries? Come on, everybody wants fries with cheeseburgers. Free fries, free fries, free fries. All right, starting September 1st, everybody gets free fries with their burgers. Then the burger goes up $3. CM Punk ice cream bars, they gave them away that one time. Oh, how generous. How generous. Even though an ice cream bar cost about $2, the wrapper costs 10 cents to print. I mean, if I don't have the wrapper in front of me, but if you actually look at it close, it looks like a child did it on Adobe Photoshop. Maybe I do have the wrapper here. Let me see if I have the wrapper here. I think I do. Please. I think I do. I do. Okay. Here's the wrapper. Okay. You look at that. It looked like somebody typed the top with a typewriter. I'm telling you, I'm not trying to be a jerk right now. Look at the left-hand corner. Somebody typed that with a goddamn typewriter. They smacked the label in the front, and it had the ingredients, which it's supposed to have. I don't even see a calorie count on there. Isn't that against the law? Isn't an ice cream bar supposed to show how many calories, how many grams of fat, carbohydrates, sugar, dietary fiber, protein? I don't see any of that. Total fat, saturated fat. I don't see any of that. Somebody in Chicago needs to do something about that. So anyway, the wrapper doesn't cost that much. You think the ice cream bar, you think they had special chefs? Oh, we make the ice cream bars, but this is CM Punk, the special cream, special cream. This is a special sauce. Very, very expensive. Oh, it was a $2 goddamn ice cream bar. Now they're on sale for a limited basis in Chicago. $16 a bar. Thank you. That is not a joke. That is not a misprint. $16 a bar. A bar, ice cream bar that costs less than $2 to make. They are selling it $16 a bar. Not $16 for a bar, a box of 6. $16 for one bar of ice cream. Do I have a problem with it? No. Welcome to the world of business. Do you think AEW was anything different? They gave away ice cream bars. They want to bring in Minoru Suzuki. We were talking about it yesterday. Bring this guy in. He was going to work GCW for 4 events. So what happens today? Moxley has his match with Satoshi Kojima. Very, very physical. A lot of forearms, a lot of chops. You know, the crowd was into it. I loved that crowd was into Kojima as much as they were. Then after the match is over, Minoru Suzuki's music hits. He comes out. And the funny thing with Jim Ross, God bless his soul, Jim Ross is like, it's got the name Minoru Suzuki. It's got the name of Minoru Suzuki on the screen. And he's like, if that's who I think it is, what'd you think? It was Kenzo Suzuki? So he comes out. Now, to be honest with you, if those ice cream bars are helping to pay to bring in, a couple extra people here and there, fine, no problem. If I know my ice cream bar is going towards somebody that I want to see, yeah, why not? Sure. I buy shirts sometimes just to support a wrestler. I mean, all shirts look the same. You think I wear this in public? Just imagine me walking into my insurance office wearing this. People think I'm into like voodoo stuff. But $16, everybody, for an ice cream bar. Now, somebody was cute, and please, to this person, don't get mad. I use words like cute and stuff, and people get triggered. Somebody said to me, oh, well, Don Tony, stadium food and arena food is always more expensive. I always come prepared. This is Yankee Stadium's current menu as of 2020. Their ice cream bars are $6 a piece. $6 a piece. Go look it up. Just look up Yankee Stadium novelty ice cream bar. They're $6 a piece. And that's Yankee Stadium. $16 a bar. Amazing. People bought it. It's good. I guarantee you, if I buy a $16 ice cream bar, when it's down to the stick, I know this is so like, I'm not going to do it. I'd be licking that thing and making love to it. And if there's even a little tiny little bit of chocolate on it, I'd be like a beaver and I'd be like, there would be that stick would be gnawed on so bad that the brown stick would be white. Limited edition ice cream. Sure, Darren, limited edition ice cream. Give a little souvenir with it. Give a souvenir wrapper that hasn't, I'm dead serious. Give a souvenir wrapper that has not had any ice cream in it as a memento. This way, if they want to put it on eBay, hey, I paid $16 for an ice cream, but man, that ice cream was good, and I got $16 back for a commemorative label. Give them a commemorative upper deck card. $16 for regular ice cream? Would you think there's special sauce in it? So Miro and Eddie Kingston tore it up. A lot of Eddie chants, redeem these nuts chants. We had some loud, but I tell you, tonight reminded me of ECW with the crowd. Seriously. I mean, I know the letters aren't the same, but man, when you hear 15,000 fans in unison going, AEW, 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 it's so reminiscent of ECW. Because even like when you go back, this is something I think younger people may not realize. You know, you go back to WWF in the 90s, the 2000s, you go to WCW in the 90s to 2000, because 2001 sucked. You even go NWO. The fans never really chanted the letters. You would have some do it, but just think about it. Did you ever see on the network or Peacock, have you ever seen an episode of Raw since 1993 where 10, 15,000 fans went, WWF, WWF? Oh, it sounds weird. Sounds weird. You never heard it. And even WCW, 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 that even sounds ridiculous. NWO, NWO, and that's a little bit better. They never chanted the letters. ECW was the top promotion. TNA, believe it or not, is probably second on that list. So when you hear the fans rabid chanting AEW, it just flows. It's very reminiscent of ECW, man. Very reminiscent. So they tore it up. You know, there was one part during the match, and again, I'll keep saying it. People ask me every couple of weeks, DT, what is your number one pet peeve about AEW? My number one pet peeve remains the same for a very long time. The referees. When you see what you see sometimes in AEW, it makes you really appreciate Earl Hebner a little more, and Charles Robinson, and Nick Patrick, and others, because they did it perfectly. They mastered it. You look at that moron of a referee during the match between Miro and Eddie Kingston. It's not the person. I'm just talking about professional. And he's in the corner, and you know he's kind of moving like the turnbuckle because they were going to use his way. Okay, that's fine. But then, for some reason, Miro's in his face, and he's doing this. As if Miro maybe had pussy on his breath, or he was afraid of COVID. Suddenly, the referee is just looking like this. So Miro could low blow Eddie Kingston. It looks so awful on TV. Go back and replay it and just look at the referee. And while he's doing that, and you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, if you're going to play like you don't see what's going on, they really need to fix that. Horrendous. Horrible. So Miro hits the low blow, kick in the head. 1, 2, 3. Miro is still your TNT champion. But the referee shit is awful. It is awful. I mean, I'll go one step ahead. You go to the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, and you see, like, the referee is just turning the other way for no reason whatsoever. And I'm saying to myself, it's a goddamn cage match. Anything goes. Why are you acting like you don't see anything? Kenny Omega is taking on Christian. And Don Callis, towards the end of the match, he's trying to get everybody at ringside. So what happens? Carl Anderson, don't you love how AEW addressed Carl Anderson with some of his comments? I have not much of a problem with Carl Anderson said. I thought it was a little bit messed up. I don't think he should be suspended over it. But just take note. when MJF, again, I'm not saying that these guys should not say things or should say it. It's not my place. When MJF tells people online you should have been aborted, and somebody just kills themselves, shoots themselves in the chest, and Carl Anderson says WWE still sucks, even though they just sent a memo reminding people are very, very, very upset right now and very, very somber. Like, we have therapists. And what's Tony Khan? What is it, extended shit in the back? They just look the other way. I mean, Carl Anderson might be different because Carl Anderson may not even be technically contractually obligated to AEW. But man, you just throw them out there anyway. What kind of message does that send? So I'm telling you, man, that double standard. Remember that goofy rap I did with Max Casa? Be prepared to wipe off that All Elite. Take note of all these things, because a lot of people online will not talk about it. Will not talk about it. Tony Khan is God. Sorry, he's not giving you a job. He's not going to tweet you $50. He's not going to cash app you a 20 spot. He's not going to send you a free t-shirt. He's not going to give you a surprise autograph in the mail. He ain't going to give you a hand job. He ain't going to give you a retweet or follow. In fact, he might think you're a little bit of a whack job when you do stuff like that. He ain't stupid. So Miro retains. The referee makes it look absolutely stupid at the end. So we go to the next match, and I know we already discussed a little bit. I fill in the blanks now. Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima. Let's go Moxley, Kojima. Let's go Moxley, Kojima. Crowd loved it, man. Kojima's funny. I don't know if any of you follow his social media. That's not a joke. He's a carbohydrate addict. He's a carb addict. His favorite food is bread. Trust me, when he went back to the hotel tonight, I guarantee you there were rolls with butter around his table. A lot of chops, a lot of forearms, very, very physical. Moxley coming out with the GCW sweatshirt, because if you were not aware of it already, Jon Moxley beat Matt Cardona to become the GCW heavyweight champion. Congrats to Jon Moxley. You only have Nick Gage waiting for you very soon. So Moxley coming out with the GCW sweatshirt. And we got forearms, we got clotheslines, rear naked choke, pile driver. I mean, they're just going physical against each other. Elbow drop by Kojima for a 2 count. Moxley's left elbow was bleeding. It took 2 paradigm shifts by Moxley to get the win. And then after Moxley gets the win, before we could even think anything else, here comes Minoru Suzuki. And all I kept thinking about was Suzuki's got 4 dates for GCW starting mid-September to mid-October. He also has 1 event, I think, for New Japan Pro Wrestling. But the problem is, I don't think Moxley has been announced for that New Japan event. He probably will be added. But Suzuki comes out there, and the crowd is chanting, holy shit, holy shit. And before he even comes out there and he sees the name on the screen, Moxley's just mouthing the word. So they look like they're having a ball. They're just exchanging forearms. Now, the funny thing is, if you're not used to seeing that back and forth like you saw with Suzuki and Moxley, understand something. And Walter and Ilya kind of showed it also. When you fight someone, you don't want to get beat up by the other person. But in the case of some people, they want to, for ego purposes, they want to take their best shot. Come on, give it to me. That's why I thought it was so odd that so many people fell for the Nia Jax Charlotte stuff. It was a shoot. You go back and watch it. right before the first slap in the head, Charlotte looks right at Nia Jax and says, slap me. Okay. Slap back. Now it gets more physical. Adrenaline. And people bought it. When other people do it, the only thing that sucked about Monday is they didn't do it all that great. Let's be honest. But Moxley and Suzuki looked like they were having fun. And all I kept thinking to myself is, please, I want to see this match in AEW. I don't want to see it in I'm not saying I don't want to see it in GCW, but I don't follow GCW all that much. So give me it prime time. I want to see it on the AEW's banner. I want to see it pop a rating. I want to see it happen in AEW. So later on in the night, we found out that they will be wrestling this Wednesday. So this Wednesday, my God, I can't, if AEW does anything less than a 1,300,000 on Wednesday, you know, that I think that is a disappointment. So Suzuki comes out there, they have the stare down, and they start rolling it up, and the crowd loves it. And I'm saying to myself, my God, there's not that many wrestlers from Japan that come to the United States and the crowd is super over for. Kushida is a rare example, and some others over the years, but this guy never competes on primetime, you know, television, you know, across just all the networks. And now we're going to see him on Wednesday. So absolutely awesome. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So next match, moving along, Dr. Britt Baker versus Kris Statlander. By the way, somebody's asking me what are the appearances for Suzuki? For GCW, he's going to compete September 17th, which is a Friday in Los Angeles, California. Friday, 9/24 day, 9/24. In Queens, New York, at the Melrose Ballroom. Sunday, October 10th in Atlantic City, and Sunday, October 23rd back in Los Angeles. Britt Baker versus Kris Statlander. It was a decent match. I was very surprised to hear the crowd at one point go, "This is awesome," because, you know, I thought the match was good, but I don't know if they saw something that I didn't. It seemed a little bit messy at times. You know, when Statlander got hit with the flatliner in the corner, it looked like her head got hit pretty hard the wrong way. I mean, there was some pretty good moves. I mean, Statlander missing the moonsault outside the ring, and Britt Baker hitting her with the curb stomp. That looked great. I got a kick out of Orange Cassidy, you know, probably getting the most emotional that we've ever seen him in AEW. He's looking at Statlander, and Statlander is laid out, and the referee is counting to 10. And no, Darren, not everything is awesome in AEW, but I commend the things that deserve to be commended. But Orange Cassidy yelling at Kris Statlander, "Get up, get in there." And I think it woke people up. Like, it was good. We had Britt Baker hit the Pittsburgh Sunrise just for a 2 count. Hits this curb stomp just for a 2 count, but then nails the lockjaw. Nobody has figured out yet, like what Mick Foley said a long time ago, just bite. Put the lockjaw in my hand. Just bite the fingers. Break the hold. That's why I don't think we're going to see Britt Baker take on Abaddon anytime soon. Because the minute Britt Baker puts the lockjaw in Abaddon, you got to even use a blood capsule. Seriously, even if you have to use fake blood, just have Abaddon bite on the fingers and just see a little bit of blood coming out of Abaddon's mouth, and it looks like she drew blood. Say that fast 10 times. She would have drew blood on Britt Baker. But that would probably ruin the lockjaw. Because then every match, everybody would be like, just bite her fucking fingers. So Britt Baker gets the win. I think that split with Rebel. I think that'll be happening within the next couple of weeks. Let it happen sooner than later. Not needed. with Britt Baker anymore. We get a backstage interview with Andrade, Idolo. And they bring up that his opponent, Pac, is not there because of travel problems. I mean, it just is awful. I mean, it's nice. Look, now we end up with a nice main event for Rampage next week. But man, seriously, if I was AEW, I would seriously just look. I don't care Andrade's with Charlotte or Ric Flair's going to be his father-in-law and all that. Maybe Ric Flair makes an appearance. Who knows? But, man, I would have reevaluated that business decision. We already paid him for over a quarter of the year, and he's wrestled 4 minutes. I love Andrade. Seriously. Anybody that could get 6 months of pay with doing nothing and not because it's COVID, man, any of us would love to be Andrade right now, whether he was with Charlotte or not. Idolo. You know why I say that? Because I used to be friends with a guy in school. He was Italian. Well, he still is. He's still alive. His name was Italo. Italo. That's an Italian name. And whenever I would see him, I'd go, Italo. Italo, come here. Italo. Italo de Modica. Italo. So now when I think of Andrade, I just go, Italo. So Andrade says Pac is not there because he's scared. Okay, whatever. They're all pre-recorded segments. You don't have Andrade show up for 4, 5, 6 straight weeks just to cut a backstage interview segment. We're going to fly you in just to talk for 30 seconds. And then we're going to fly you out. No, that ain't happening. Next. My God, I don't even know how to call this. I don't even know how to call this. I mean, they just killed it, like I said earlier. I mean, everything. If you thought the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers could not top the matches they've had before, they topped it tonight. You know, I loved the entrance by the Lucha Brothers. I love the outfits. You know, I said this earlier today. You know, look, I don't criticize young fans that don't know some of the wrestlers that I enjoyed years ago. It makes me feel old that people of today wouldn't even know some of these guys. But for anybody that goes back with me a little bit, even to the XPW days, one of my top fantasy matches that I would have loved to have seen, I would have loved to have seen the Lucha Brothers take on Mexico's Most Wanted in their prime. Damien 666 in Halloween. Oh my God. Seriously, if any of you out there, if you've never seen Mexico's Most Wanted, if you even want to see a little DT, go back to the first XPW event in Philly, Hostile Takeover. Some of you will know who Brian XL is here in the Northeast. Brian XL was in that match. I drove him home the next day to Brooklyn. Brian XL, one of the nicest people that I ever met back in the day. Awesome guy. Him and this guy, Smokey Carmichael, that might have had maybe 3 matches in his career. They tore it up with Damien 666 and Halloween. You watch Mexico's Most Wanted, you will see so much of the Lucha Brothers in what they did. I still don't understand the move that they used to do where one of them would do the Cesaro swing. I mean, I think we've seen it once on WWE television. I don't remember who actually did it, but a finisher that Mexico's Most Wanted used to do is one of them would do the Cesaro swing. I think it was Halloween would do the Cesaro swing. And then while Halloween was swinging their other opponent, Damien 666 would drop kick the guy in the head. So as soon as he came around from the swing, drop kick to the head and get pinned. It just looked beautiful. I can't believe we don't see more people doing that these days. It's such an awesome, awesome move. But these two guys, Ray Phoenix and Penta, they may not wrestle every single week on TV, but easily one of the MVP tag teams of that company. Should not have taken this long for them to get gold, but they earned every cheer that they have received. Ray Phoenix has really, improved and cut out a lot of the real reckless stuff. Penta is just out of this world. I mean, a lot of people, if you remember when AEW first started with Dynamite, a lot of people did not know much of Penta. And you go and you see from Lucha Underground and others. I mean, that guy was incredible. So those two guys tore it up today. There was one point in the match that everybody's talking about. Now, if I'm going to be nitpicking and complain about one thing in the match, only one thing, when the Young Bucks were teasing that they were tearing the masks of the Lucha Brothers, if you look at it, Ray Phoenix tore his own mask. They put the camera the wrong way, and you actually see Ray Phoenix going like this, tearing his, because obviously, you don't want the Young Bucks to tear it too much. So Ray Phoenix knew exactly how much to do. But there was one point during the match where Brandon Cutler tosses a little bag over the cage into the ring. And I think Shivani called it contraband, and Don Callis is like, why is it contraband if it's not illegal? Yeah, good point. So it was, I think it was Matt Jackson. Did Matt Jackson do it? Yeah, it was Matt Jackson. Takes his shoe off, and he pulls out of a bag a Nike shoe, and underneath it is glued with thumbtacks. And he super kicks Ray Phoenix. Penta is already a bloody mess, but he kicks Penta in the head. They actually shove Penta's head into the sneaker itself. And man, it was just very, very rough. Now, it had its little novelty points. There was one point during the match where all four guys were in the ring. Here, 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 and here. And basically, they were just in a circle. This guy would hit a super kick against this guy. This guy would hit a super kick against this guy. This guy would hit a super kick, and they would just kept going in circles and going in circles. The crowd ate it up. I mean, a little too choreographed for me, but these guys just nailed it. I mean, you had high spots off the top of the cage. At one point, the crowd is chanting "Fight Forever." Holy shit chants, this is awesome chants. I honestly think I will not be surprised if a lot of fans, even in Chicago, will say the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks was the match of the night. I don't even think it's close. They just killed it. Absolutely killed it. At one point, we thought the Lucha Brothers were done. Ray Phoenix was knocked out, and they hit the super kicks, the double super kicks to Penta. Hits the Fear Factor. And then Ray Phoenix breaks up for a 2 count. Crowd did not expect it. They thought the match was over. When Ray Phoenix broke up that 2 count, that crowd exploded. And you rarely hear crowds just erupt like that on a 2 count. And Ray Phoenix becomes just a lightning rod, just spitfire, just move, boom, 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 boom. And Penta's telling him to climb to the top of the cage. And we think that he's going to hit a crazy move, and then the Young Bucks get the upper hand, but Ray Phoenix ends up hitting a flying crossbody from the top of the cage onto them. And then Nick Jackson is spiked by the Lucha Brothers, and we have new tag team champions. Lucha Brothers win the belts. I tell you, and they're 2 totally different matches. Somebody asked me tonight, all right, 2 weeks ago I said Walter versus Ilya is my favorite match of the year. What do you think after seeing the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers tonight? It is 2 totally different matches. But I tell you, it is very difficult to choose of the 2. They killed it. They absolutely killed it. Even if you're not a big fan of AEW, if you did not watch this pay-per-view tonight, yeah, everybody's curious about CM Punk's return, and he looked very good. We'll get to him in a second. But if there was one match to see, this is the match to see. Shout out to Gabriella. What's going on? King of Hueco Mundo, Arian, Ken terminated by TQ, Darren, you're pain in the ass sometimes, Kevin, Richard, Lion, Nick, Charlie, and everybody else. So, your new tag team champs. Now the question is, who do they feud with next? Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy? I don't know. Think about that for a minute. Where does Adam Cole fit in all of this? It's going to be interesting to see. You know, AEW is probably not going to resist. They're probably going to give a rematch to the Young Bucks, and they deserve it, obviously. But it's going to be interesting to see who goes up against the Lucha Brothers next. Because remember, in 2 weeks, 2 weeks, we're in New York. Something big's going to have to go down. Yeah, they could very well just do Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers again. I mean, why would anybody complain? They tear the house down. But that could end up being a match in 2 weeks. But they nailed it. So now we get to the women's match. And yeah, it kind of cuts my head out up here, so I really can't show it in the corner. But those are your participants. I am taking a little slug. So basically how this works, if you've never seen a casino battle royale before in AEW, you know, you have a deck of cards. You get hearts, spades, diamonds, and clubs. And each suit represents 5 women. And what would happen is they would announce a suit, 5 women would come out. They would brawl, I guess, for 2 minutes. Then they choose another suit, 5 women come out. So after you announce all 4 suits, you have 20 women who have competed. Then you announce the Joker. And during the whole match, everybody is chanting, Ruby, Soho. Actually, at one point, there was Ruby Riott. Then they went Ruby, Soho. So first the clubs come out. And the clubs are Shida, Sky Blue, Emi Sakura, the Bunny, and Abaddon. Now, Sky Blue was filling in for Julia Hart, who could not compete. Look, with the exception of the ending and maybe a couple of small moments in this Battle Royale, I don't think it was very good. And I think a lot of people will agree as well. Almost immediately, Abaddon eliminated Sky Blue. And then the Bunny eliminated Abaddon within a minute. Fans were not thrilled about that. Props to the Bunny once again, paying a little tribute to Daphne tonight. I don't know if any other woman on the show did, but I know she did. So now you have 2 eliminations within 2 minutes. So now the Diamonds come out. And it's Anna Jay, Kiera Hogan, Kylan King, Diamante, and Nyla Rose. Look at Emi Sakura's elimination by Hikaru Shida. I like Emi Sakura. But some of these eliminations tonight were freaking awful. Flat out awful. Just go and watch that elimination. You'll say to yourself, what the hell was that? She just like rolled up into the corner and set herself up. And then she like didn't fall. And then Shida knocks her into someone else. And she just like plops over on the floor. Seriously, you know what it looked like? It looked like if you had like a roll of paper towels on like a table in the back of your house and it's a little bit of a windy day and the paper towels is like right near the edge of the table and like a little like burst of wind just like blows it over. It looked awful. It looked freaking awful. Then Kiera Hogan is almost eliminated immediately by Nyla Rose. Fans were not thrilled about that. Kylan King eliminated by Nyla Rose as well, and Shida eliminated by Nyla Rose. Everybody thought that Jade Cargill, and that what the thing I kept seeing repeatedly was Jade Cargill was going to get the Diesel night. From Diesel, I think, 1995 or 1994? Remember Diesel in the Royal Rumble? A lot of people thought that. No, it was not much of that at all, because Jade Cargill is not ready for that spotlight That's not a knock on Jade Cargill. Take your time. No rush. But Nyla Rose eliminates quite a few people. So now, at this point, we have Anna Jay, Nyla Rose, The Bunny, and Diamante. Out of the first 10, those are the 4 that are still in the ring. The Hearts are next. That is Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, Riho, Jamie Hayter, and Big Swole. Diamante eliminated by Big Swole. Awful, awful once again. Go back and watch it. Jamie Hayter, when you watch Big Swole eliminate Diamante, and I don't have clips of the match in front of me, but I remember when Diamante went to the side of the rope, like Big Swole like hit her into the rope. Big Swole's looking on the opposite side of the ring, and there's nobody near her. And you look at it and you're saying to yourself, why are you not looking at the person you're trying to eliminate? You're just looking the other way. And then she eliminated Diamante, and it just looked horrendous. Then Jamie Hayter eliminates Big Swole, and it looked bad as well. I feel bad. It seems like ever since Big Swole has had that dentist off this match with Britt Baker, man, she is, to me, in a rut. And she's talented. I mean, everybody has a bad streak. But, man, this is an extended streak. I mean, that match with the dentist in the dentist office is quite a whiles now. So now we have the Spades come out. And the Spades were Ty Conti, Red Velvet, Layla Hirsch, Jade Cargill, and Rebel. Red Velvet eliminated by Rebel. Go look at that. When I write in capital letters, awful, it's awful. Because I'm not that much of a person to criticize like that. But some of these eliminations, seriously, were just garbage. The Bunny eliminated by Anna Jay. Anna Jay then eliminated by Penelope Ford. Jade Cargill tosses Layla Hirsch over the top rope. That was Jade Cargill's moment. The whole match, that was her moment. Now we're about to get the Joker. There's loud Ruby Soho chants. And finally, we get the Joker announced. And yes, it was Ruby Soho. Crowd went nuts. I mean, we've seen the videos online of Ruby leading up to this point. So you know what she looked like with the hairstyle and it cut short and everything. I don't know. Her outfit today, man, she's not dressed that much different than her Riot Squad days. But for some reason, it just shines and stands out now even more. And it's not because she's got tattoos, but I'm telling you, the crowd ate it up. She was visibly taken back by that. I went on social media and you see Kevin Owens, Dakota Kai, and Liv Morgan, and this person, and everybody all so happy for her. People crying. They were absolutely crying. And good. Like Kevin Owens said, it's good to see when good things happen to good people. But it's even better. You know, Ruby Riott is truly one of the real, genuinely good women in this wrestling business. And to see her get this opportunity, I call it redemption. I call it redemption. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, it's very easy when you're getting paid comfortably to just be complacent, to just whatever they tell you to do, you do. You sit in catering, you sit in catering. You lose to blah, 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 blah in a minute. You lose blah, 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 blah in a minute. You do whatever they say. The problem is you keep agreeing, and you don't step up and kind of balk at it or try to like voice something. And so, I mean, obviously you don't want to piss off your employer. You could get fired over that. But if you become too complacent and you're going along with your burial in the ring and then you're let go, then it's like, what the hell just happened? And fans realized, and let's also be honest, the outpouring of love and support by the people in WWE as well, and not being afraid to speak out about it online, that helped Ruby tremendously. It helped her tremendously. Because when the Riot Squad were doing next to nothing on TV, all you saw online was complaints. You didn't see wrestlers speaking up all that much. It was only until after she was let go that everybody spoke out. Obviously, Tony Khan saw something. Everybody else saw something. And she got the opportunity today. And what ends up happening? Jamie Hayter gets eliminated by Jade Cargill, which is interesting. Jade Cargill eliminates Red Velvet. Nyla Rose eliminates Jade Cargill. You could see, like, it's almost like you eliminate someone, you get eliminated. You get Ty Conti eliminates Penelope Ford. Nyla Rose eliminates Ty Conti. Now we're down to Nyla Rose, Ruby Riott, and Thunder Rosa. So now Nyla Rose gets eliminated. Now, if we're going to be honest here a little bit, the exchange in the middle of the ring between Thunder Rosa and Ruby was great. Ruby Soho. If I said Ruby Riott, force have it. Ruby Soho. When they were in the middle of the ring, trash talking and exchanging forearms and stuff, it was great. When they flipped over the top rope, started playing the games outside the ring, it started to look kind of sloppy. Thunder Rosa trying to save it a little bit, teasing that she's going to fall, off the top rope. But they recovered pretty good. And eventually it's a kick to Thunder Rosa's head by Ruby Soho that causes Thunder Rosa to fall off the ring apron. Ruby Soho gets the win, and she is now entitled to a AEW Women's Championship opportunity. So good for her. Actually, no, I said that the tag match was the only match I got wrong. This one I got wrong also. I said I was rooting for Thunder Rosa. I don't remember yesterday if I said that I thought Ruby was going to win, but I was rooting for Thunder Rosa. But I honestly don't remember saying I was rooting that I thought Ruby would win, because we honestly didn't know if she was going to appear. So I think I went with Thunder Rosa. Now, if anybody that's a channel member that participated in the predictions contest, if you chose the Joker, and I wrote this specifically, if you chose the Joker, whoever the Joker was, if they won, then you get credit for that. So Ruby is your winner. And what can you say? The ending, everybody was very happy with. So now we go to the next match, the final fight. I showed you MJF's intro earlier. Jericho's I did not like. It reminded me of Rick Books. Why would you not have the fans yell and serenade in unison Judas if that's possibly Jericho's last match? Kris, I don't really care if they said 7 minutes left or anything like that. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's just, I want a quality match. I understand some matches go certain times and everything. I don't care about lengths as long as what I see I'm enjoying. I mean, obviously everything is organized. It's got to end within a certain period of time. So, I just want a good match. Just give me a good match. So Jericho, instead of just coming out to the regular Judas theme, we have a guitarist. Now obviously it was not Rich Ward, but whoever the guitarist was, I mean, to me it felt like Rick Books. Like, it was so loud, like you couldn't even get into the word. I don't know why they did that. I honestly don't know. I mean, I don't know. To me, I didn't like it. MJF's intro was great. Jericho's, I was kind of and I'm not going to lie to you. To me, Jericho versus MJF felt flat. My prediction was that Jericho was going to win. If we knew 100% this was Jericho's last match, and we all knew that he was going to lose, as I was watching it, it made me feel like the movie The Wrestler. Like someone who just, even though he hit a lion salt, even though he hits the Huracanrana, or tried to, got hit into a powerbomb, but even though he nailed some moves, and Jericho is not embarrassing, let me make that clear. But there was points during the match that I was just like, man, this is just like, the match fell flat. It did not feel like a retirement match. And yes, as I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, AEW sent too many mixed messages. I don't know why nobody called them out on it. I don't know why nobody in the company did not tighten it up with the commentators. Look, when you talk about Jericho, why are my lights out? I know why my lights out. Hang on. See, I got these lights. Did it work? Yeah. I got these, I'm not going to take them apart right now, but I got these cool lights that change colors and stuff. And I forgot to hit the power button. So I think they went off during the night. But I don't know, just this match fell flat. I mean, it had its moments. MJF, monster heel. That's why he doesn't need to say some of the things he does online. There's no need to say that someone should have been aborted. We know you're a jerk. He doesn't, I don't get that. And I don't get how AEW does not tighten it up a little bit. I'll say this. I'm taking that off for a minute. Was it Jimmy Jacobs? Who was the wrestler that AEW let go not too long ago? Why do I keep thinking, oh, no, Austin Aries. No, it's not Austin Aries. Who was the wrestler that they let go not too long ago? Now, the allegations were, not very good for the wrestler. Someone's going to write it. Like I said, there's a 5-second delay, but I'm going to make a point. And some people may not like this, and some people may deep down inside agree with me on this. Jimmy Havoc, thank you. I knew I was in the ballpark. Jimmy Havoc, thank you, Elijah. You see how they ran for Jimmy Havoc. And you see how they ran to Willie Urbina? Yes. I kept saying the other guy, Hugo Savinovich, a couple of times. It was my mistake. Willie Urbina. You see how they were very quick to say how appalled they were with Max Caster. Sooner or later, I have a feeling people are going to start coming out there and accusing Tony Khan of backing off on people who are not on their best behavior. I don't want to say best behavior, but some of the more important talents in their company or have a spot on TV that they turn more of a blind eye. Because like I said, the Max Caster thing, it took them a whole week before anybody suddenly was upset about it. Nobody in production was upset about it. They knew about it. But you see Carl Anderson says what he says. Nothing remotely brought up about it. Take note of those radio shows that bring Tony Khan on. And don't confront Tony Khan about, what do you have to say about MJF telling people they should be aborted, deported, and all this other stuff? What do you have to say about that? I mean, take notice of these things because nobody else online is going to bring those things up to you. It's not just Tony Khan, turning a blind eye, but even when you see certain wrestlers wearing what they want, doing this, doing that, it almost seems like Tony Khan either is just like, yeah, do whatever you want, or does not stand up and say, no, I don't want this, or no, I don't like this. That was something that Dixie Carter had a huge problem with. Remember that? When Dixie Carter was forced to just sit by, somebody gets arrested for DWI. Oh, innocent until proven guilty. Then it happens again. Then it happens again. Till somebody shows up to completely drugged up out of their mind for a pay-per-view. And shows up here and shows up here and you drug test. We don't reveal that. We're a private company. People let them get away with it. Not saying that will happen in AEW. I don't believe that will. But just take note of certain people who repeatedly get away with this stuff, and because they're much higher on the food chain. So Jericho has his match with MJF, and, at some points, it just felt depressing for me. I don't know why. And that obviously was Jericho's intent. Remember, when he first came out, he had this real somber look on his face. And people bought it. People on social media, look at his face. Look how he reacts. He's got tears in his eyes. Jericho did it beautifully. Yeah, Danish, thank you very much for the kind words, my friend. Yes, it's 1:45. We're going to start wrapping this up because I already talked about a lot of what went down. But Jericho's selling the right arm, and the announcers caught it. When Jericho started wailing on MJF, Jericho's a righty. So obviously that's why. But they're like, why is he using the right hand so much? Because what he was selling, but he did what he did. MJF selling the lower back. And there were points where everybody thought that Jericho was going to, that's it. His AEW in-ring career was over. So what ends up happening? Jericho hits a code breaker for a 2 count. Wardlow comes out to try to interfere. He's stopped by Jake Hager. So they're brawling in the back. And now this is where I get really pissed off again with referees, because now Aubrey Edwards is watching Jake Hager and Wardlow all the way up along the side of the rampway near the back. And she's just looking over there. Obviously, the storyline is she's looking away while MJF grabs the bat and wails Jericho with it. But, when you have a referee distracted, it's got to look like it makes sense. Miro, earlier in the match, is in the corner, and for no reason at all, the referee is looking the other way, like this. And it almost looked like, Miro, your breath smells like shit. I can't look at you. Just so the referee doesn't see the crotch shot. Aubrey Edwards is looking. Aubrey, you might as well just look in the parking lot next door at the Holiday Inn. Like, she's just looking for no reason. It doesn't look right on TV. Again, the referee being distracted by Don Callis, while, Christian gets nailed in the ring. And Don Callis had already dropped down, and he's just looking at him. The referees suck at this. They suck at distraction. And I don't understand why nobody tries to tighten that up, because the referees just look awful when they do that stuff. So even when after MJF hit Jericho with the bat, then he hits Jericho with the Judas effect, which, man, if you're going to retire Jericho with his own move, that's ballsy. So MJF goes to pin Jericho. Now, for the first time ever, Aubrey Edwards is looking the opposite way. Jericho puts his foot on the rope, and she counts to 3. And when she counts to 3, she's not even acknowledging Jericho that he had his foot on the rope and everything. Then, and she's looking like she's somber and looking the other way and this and that. I'm like, man, I know she's likable and she puts a lot of effort out there. That doesn't mean that suddenly you're a great actor or a great actress out there. And it just looked crappy. And then the other referee shows up and he's like, oh, his foot was on the rope. Again, I'm fine with dusty finishes. The crowd ate it up. The crowd loved it. The thing is they got to be a little bit more consistent with stuff like that, because there's been a lot of fuck finishes before where the referee is distracted, the referee makes a mistake, and the commentators say the referee's decision is final. So what ends up happening? Aubrey Edwards restarts the match. MJF is like, no. And at one point we thought that MJF was going to win anyway because he put an arm bar on Jericho. But Jericho puts him in the walls of Jericho. And vintage Jericho. Just when the opponent is about to grab the rope, he pulls him to the middle of the ring, because he knows from his career, you pull that wrestler back to the middle of the ring, the crowd erupts. And sure enough, MJF taps out. Jericho gets the win. Inner Circle come out to ringside to celebrate. And Jericho's career remains in AEW. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. Jericho is obviously not the Jericho of yesteryear, but he could still go. He could still go. And that's all that matters. So props. Jericho gets the win. MJF loses nothing with this loss. He is still one of the top heels in that company and pretty damn good. Now we got to see how it segues in a different direction. I think Jericho needs to maybe not act like he's stepping away, but I think Jericho needs to cut a promo that he's got to take a little bit of time off, and that's what I said yesterday. He's got to do hot Fozzy stuff, take some time off, recharge, relax. You don't have to do an injury storyline, or you don't have to do, where he's, suspended or laid out or anything. Just, I need to take a little time off. And trust me, at this point, fans will not have a problem. Remember, there was a point, a lot of you will remember, there was a point with AEW where Jericho had to be on every show. It wasn't that long ago. Jericho had to be on every show. Now you got CM Punk. Now you got Bryan Danielson. Now you got Adam Cole. Now you got Malachi Black. And I'm just talking about new signees and maybe some more on the horizon. Yeah, we got Idolo, but he hasn't really done much. Benjamin, yes, the Jericho Cruise is going to still happen because of COVID. Because COVID is not going away for several years, as we've been talking about for the last 19 months. Proof of vaccination is going to be required because if everybody on the ship is vaccinated, and even if somebody does get COVID, when you have the vaccine in your system, the chances of you being hospitalized is dramatically less. So if your body kicks its ass in a very short amount of time, the chances of you giving it to someone else who is fully vaccinated, those numbers drop dramatically. That is why. That is why they say vaccinated people could be around other vaccinated people. Remember, this is something I think a lot of people forget. There is no flu shot to cure the flu. There is no shot to stop anything 100%. You could still get sick from something. COVID shot was never meant to be 100% foolproof and perfect. But if enough people have it, even if you, God forbid, get it, and you're fully vaccinated, your body knows how to fight it a lot better than someone who does not know how to fight. That's the formula. You do not keep shutting things down. Kris, yeah. Oscar De La Hoya, yeah, obviously. But Oscar De La Hoya, we don't know all the scenarios. We don't know what shot that he had. We don't know when exactly he had it. I just got my third shot 2 weeks ago. And I got my third shot because I'm borderline cancer right now. And I have some other health issues. And my doctor said, go get it. So just because he says he's vaccinated, we don't know when. We don't know which medicine. We don't know how long ago. And we don't know what environment he was in. I mean, he is, one of a few. But it's a fact. 95% of everybody in the hospital are people who are unvaccinated. People who get the flu end up in the hospital. People who walk outside with their hair still wet, who have a very weak immune system, can catch pneumonia. How many times did your parents tell you all when you were growing up, don't go outside while your hair is wet in the wintertime? You'll get pneumonia. People do get hospitalized just from the flu. People do get hospitalized just from a cold. People do get hospitalized because of bronchitis. People do get hospitalized because of COVID and being vaccinated. There is no perfect. You got to just be careful. So anyway, let's start bringing this home, everybody. CM Punk versus Darby Allin. Not much I need to add from before. Lots of welcome back chants. when they were staring at each other at the beginning of the match, a lot of holy shit chants. The match was very even. I dare say that at points during the match, Darby Allin looked like the better wrestler. CM Punk is in his 40s. CM Punk is not the CM Punk from Ring of Honor, Summer of Punk 2005. But CM Punk could damn well still go on a main event level. And my God, I've been a wrestling fan since 79. And you see up and coming wrestlers that you know could put rings around some of the veterans. Doesn't mean that Darby should be a champion, CM Punk not. This is CM Punk's first match back. He was in great shape. You know, a lot of people thought he lost a lot of muscle mass. I disagree. He looked great. You know, for somebody who's been out for 7 years, you know, it's not on the level of Christian, because Christian obviously had a severe injury. CM Punk had a severe medical condition. But CM Punk and Christian were out for almost the same amount of time. So, he was a little bit lighter, without a doubt. You know, remember, CM Punk, when he was fighting MMA, look at the weight class he was in. So I don't think that should surprise a lot of people. But I hope a lot of you checked out the predictions I did yesterday, because I played an audio clip of CM Punk on a show here in New York. Wasn't the New York Post interview. And CM Punk, you know, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but if you heard what he said about AJ coming back to wrestling, you know, he said in a lot of interviews, put it to rest. She ain't coming back. Neck problems. That's it. Done. Move on. Not what I played yesterday. You could go listen to the clip. But, you know, the point is that CM Punk made it clear also in this interview that, you know, his priorities are different now. And when he's single, not married, or someone that doesn't have children or pets, it's a lot different to have a full-time wrestling career. Wrestling is not CM Punk's priority anymore. But when CM Punk is doing what he's doing in AEW, he's doing it at 100%. But now CM Punk balances his life out. His wife comes first. His dog comes first. His private life comes first. But when he does what he does for AEW, it's 110%. So I thought CM Punk did fine today. You know, there was one scary move. Darby Allin hit a coffin splash into the corner, and it was a lot of back and forth. Darby hits a move, CM Punk hits a move. Darby hits a move, CM Punk hits a move. Darby hit a coffin splash in the corner. CM Punk then whips Darby on the opposite corner, and Darby hit the side of the ring post and fell outside the ring. It looked like his head hit the turnbuckle, his spine hit the ring post. You know, it looked a little scary at some points. But usually when Excalibur is the first person to make a remark, that's when you know it's not serious. Like when Christian hit the table, and then, you know, the Excalibur is like, oh, the edge of did you see where the legs of the table landed? And you could see the red on his side. Christian already had that red on his side in the match. So when you hear Excalibur be the first person to react to a move like that, that's when you know it's not serious. Most of the time. So we have a lot of back and forth. Let's go Darby, CM Punk. The Darby chants were light compared to the CM Punk. But I love that the crowd showed a lot of respect for Darby Allin. I mean, they're CM Punk fans, but they're AEW fans first. See, that's the thing. I think a lot of people refuse to think about when CM Punk was coming into the company. You had people, legit people, saying, oh, they're going to do 1.8 million. He comes in, 1.8 million. And what I said all along is, you realize how much wrestling is out there, even before CM Punk made his debut. If you're not watching some form of wrestling right now, the chances of you coming back simply because CM Punk is coming back, kind of slim to none, if you think about it, honestly. You're not watching any wrestling. I always believed that a majority of AEW fans were already CM Punk fans. Like, I don't know how many fans that were out there watching wrestling, but were not tuning into AEW because CM Punk was not on. Maybe a little in WWE. But I don't think that's the game changer. If somebody was loyal to WWE, but also liked CM Punk, now CM Punk's in AEW, like, okay, bye WWE. I just don't believe that. So when they do 1.1 million viewers with CM Punk on there, that's because the majority of the people who are CM Punk fans were already AEW fans. That's why CM Punk always felt to be a perfect fit. So you're already an AEW fan. So in the end, we had a GTS by CM Punk to Darby Allin, but Darby Allin fell out of the ring. At one point, CM Punk was going to take the count out, but Darby comes back in at 9. As I said earlier, Darby with some crazy-ass high spots, the tope suicida, the flying senton over the top rope, where it looked like Darby's legs kind of knocked CM Punk a little silly in the head. But in the end, CM Punk, little exchange with Darby Allin in the middle of the ring. CM Punk hits the GTS and gets the win. Great. They did not have 2.0, Daniel Garcia, anybody else get involved. Sting comes out there, shakes CM Punk's hand. Approval. CM Punk shakes Darby Allin's hand. Didn't have to do anything else. Doesn't always have to end in a beatdown or attempted beatdown. Great match. Gave the fans what they wanted. Now we move to the next to last match of the night. Yes, I'm not kidding when I say this. Oh, wait. Wow, that's funny. That is funny. My computer actually ignored that match. Wait, let's replay this here. I swear to God, I didn't delete it. Did my computer just actually skip across that match? Hold on a minute. That's funny. Let's see. All right, we got the Jericho. Okay, here. Oh, there it is. Oh, you know what happened? When I made the arrangement of the photos, I expected Punk and Darby Allin to be the next to last match of the night, and then we get the main event, which was Kenny Omega and Christian. I did not realize that I didn't change it. They actually gave this freaking match as the next to last match of the night. I legitimately went and took a leak. I got my beverage for the night. I turned the computer on, checked the lights, make sure everything was connected. By the way, is there still a sync issue with the audio? I'm a little curious, everyone. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to reboot everything. And let me just see. There's, like I said, there's like a 5-second delay. I don't know why. But do you still have sync issues, everybody? I haven't seen anybody complain. You do? Okay. On the playback, there's no sync issues. I probably just got to reboot everything then. But it's weird because Facebook, there's no issues. Twitter, Twitch, no sync issues at all. I don't know. It's weird. And I have like a gigabyte plan here. So I have like 800 like megabytes as far as my internet connection. So it's definitely not the connection. So yes, some saying that it looks fine. It's weird. It's weird. Maybe I'll drop the latency down a little bit tomorrow. That could be it too. So anyway, your semi-main event, Who Dat versus Paul Wight. The reason why I didn't have too much of a problem with this is because you knew it was going to be a very short match. I didn't think it was going to get all controversial with Billy Gunn and everything tonight. This was like, I don't know, to give everybody like a minute or two to just bring everybody back down so they get brought back up. But basically, the factory is all at ringside, and Paul Wight gets the best of, Aaron Solo, Camarado, hits the choke slam to Who Dat, QT Marshall, getting a lot of chops. Again, look, man, I mean, I don't work for that company, So I can't say nothing. And I'll always acknowledge how much hard work QT Marshall does in the back. But there ain't no way you're going to tell me that any other promotion, if Who Dat is not working in the back, there is no way any other promotion would have made the next to last match of the night Paul Wight versus QT Marshall. Nobody. If QT Marshall was not working for that company behind the scenes or was not very close friends with people in that company, there's no way they would have been on the next to last match of the night. That is just a joke. And little by little, people are starting to see more. You know, their friends, you know, the people that they're close with, they all get opportunity. And, you know, it's fine. It's fine. But, you know, what happens on the camera and what happens backstage are two totally different things. You don't put somebody in a very high, you know, visible spot simply because they work hard in the back, you know, but they did it. Paul Wight gets the win. Honestly, I don't give a shit. Let's move on. Yes, we already did Punk and Darby. Main event. Look, this match was okay. They worked hard. Couple of table spots. Couple of it looked pretty stiff. Christian, you know, was part of a table sandwich and Omega just jumps on the table, smashes it over Christian. Omega does a moonsault from the outside padding. Missed the first time, nailed the second one. You know, it was an okay match. But don't give me that QT Marshall. It ain't a fucking cherry. Sounds like that dessert cherry. Can I have a Marshall? Ain't French. Who dat? That's what I call him. This match was okay, but Kenny Omega, like I said, you see now with the pitch black hair, Kenny Omega 7 months ago went full-fledged sports entertainer. That'll prolong his wrestling career, which is a positive. And Kenny Omega has realized that he does not have to have 5-star matches to entertain fans. And when you are a heel, it is a lot easier to pull off a sports entertainer character than if you were a babyface. And, you know, that's why, I mean, my God, take a step back for a minute and think every goddamn match that Kenny Omega is involved in, a good brother, a young buck, a dumb fuck, which is, you know, Cutler, somebody always has to get involved. I mean, is that a wrestler of the year? Every match. There's always got to be interference. This is sports entertainment 101. He had blue streaks in his hair as well. Yeah. I mean, but Christian put on a great performance. You know, the thing is, I'm happy that Christian is back. It's amazing that WWE did not see more value in the guy. I'm so happy that he's able to perform on a main event level. I just feel like, especially after you gave Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy and Pac, I think the fans were expecting a little bit different of a match with Kenny Omega. I know originally we all thought Hangman Page, but obviously his wife was giving birth. But I don't know. It just, something about that match just fell flat for me today. I don't think anybody doubted. There was no way that Christian's going to start becoming the belt collector. You know, he's got the Impact title. Fine. For 8 months, Impact Wrestling has done a good job to, pardon my language, I think this is curse number 4 or 5. You know, I think Impact since the beginning of the year has done a good job to fuck up their title. Because they've sent a message to Impact Wrestling fans that their own roster is not strong enough to be the heavyweight champion. And it sends a message to their own roster that we don't have faith in any of you out there to carry this belt in 2021. Sorry. Christian shows up. Tommy Dreamer gives him a beautiful speech. And it was a cool speech. 98,000 viewers. You want feel-good moments or you do want ratings? It's funny. You know, Tessa Blanchard was averaging almost 160,000 when she was there. You know, do you want feel-good moments or do you want ratings? It's a business. You start having money problems, you know, people aren't going to just, you know, set up a GoFundMe here, Impact, because of all the years you entertain us. Here's a 10 spot for nothing. That's why Sami Callihan's got to autograph 500,000 pieces of a table and put them on eBay, and they can't even sell them because that's the only way of pulling in some big revenue right now. You know, a Knockout wears the shirt. They take off the shirt. They auction the shirt. They auction off a picture of them, you know, signing the shirt. They'll autograph a photo of them signing a shirt that they auctioned off. I mean, there's autographs that are on eBay for 7 months now with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks for like $1.25, and they can't even sell it. You know, I mean, it just sends the wrong message. Christian is not going to Impact full-time unless he is under contract with Impact, and the contract is with AEW. Until you see Impact Wrestling say that Christian is a member of our company, you know, when you see Ruby Riott today, or Ruby Soho, excuse me, you know, even if she showed up on Impact Wrestling a couple of times, you know, pay close attention. Pay close attention. Kenny Omega, he had a decent match with Christian. You know, there was some moves off the top rope or the middle rope that, you know, we were oohing and ahhing about. The one-winged angel looked great. V-Trigger looked great. I mean, they put on a great performance. I just think for that level of entertainment, yesterday, if you didn't tune into my predictions show, I know I kind of joked about it earlier in the night, but what I had said to summarize is that basically what's going to happen is once we knew that Kenny Omega and Christian were closing out this pay-per-view tonight, we were getting a surprise. We didn't know who it was going to be. We pondered Adam Cole or Daniel Bryan. But we compared it to Cesaro, that when Cesaro lost to Roman Reigns, they didn't wait to shift Cesaro out of that storyline and out of the main event picture. They gave the fans what they wanted. And, okay, now let's get Cesaro as far away from the heavyweight title picture as possible. And we said, do not be surprised that when Christian loses on the pay-per-view, before he even goes to the back, it'll be like Cesaro. He gets his ass kicked, and then someone else will appear, and we'll forget about Christian in the main event just like this. So what happens? Kenny Omega beats Christian. Gallows and Anderson come out. The Young Bucks come out to celebrate, and they start beating down on Christian. Gee, where did we see that coming? So what happens? Jungle Boy tries to make the save. Luchasaurus tries to make the save. And we got a little bit going on. And the next thing you know, Adam Cole's music hits. Complete with the Adam Cole, baby. And Adam Cole comes out. Crowd goes nuts. Holy shit chants. Crowd ate it up. He comes to the ring. And now it looks like the sides are even. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, you know. You got the Elite. So Adam Cole, we think he's going to confront Kenny Omega, because Kenny Omega right before that was on the mic. And he said that, you know, anybody that is worth anything is either no longer in this company, not in this company. I think he might have even said they're dead, or they're just like, there's nobody in the company. So that's when Adam Cole's music hits. Now we all think, holy shit, now we're going to get Adam Cole versus Kenny Omega. If you've never seen the BTE, Being the Elite videos, go and check out some of the history with Adam Cole. The last video, you know what I'm talking about. So now we think we're going to get Adam Cole versus Kenny Omega, but sure enough, Adam Cole turns around and nails Jungle Boy. And the crowd is just, nobody expected that. And Adam Cole hugs the Elite, gets on the microphone. And I don't know if anybody caught that little shot to Vince McMahon, that if anybody thinks that they're going to take down the Elite, there's no chance in hell. Get it? Vince's theme, no chance in hell. So Adam Cole, little play on words to Vince McMahon. And he's going to give a story time. So now we think Adam Cole is actually going to maybe shoot on WWE a little bit. Next thing you know, Daniel Bryan's music hits. A variation of the WWE theme. Now, obviously, WWE doesn't own the rights to that legendary music, but AEW does a little variation to it. Kind of reminds me of Mick Foley's Mankind theme when he won the WWF Championship. I know it's two totally different beats, two totally different songs. My point is, if you remember, when Mankind won the belt, that version I don't think was ever released, because the version I have still has crowd music noise in the background. They added a beat to the Mankind music, and I always loved that version of it, and I don't think it ever was released. So what they did was they added a beat to Daniel Bryan's theme song. So the intro sounds, the very beginning it sounds the same, but then they add a beat to it, and it's really good. It's really good. Absolutely. I enjoyed Adam Cole's music tonight. I enjoyed Bryan Danielson's music tonight. Pretty damn good. So Bryan Danielson comes out, and the crowd is eating it up. And obviously Bryan Danielson on the side of Jungle Boy and that team. And we go off the air. So we get Ruby Soho tonight. We get, Suzuki for a cup of coffee, Minoru Suzuki. We got Adam Cole, and we got Bryan Danielson. And as I said at the beginning of the show, I think that one aspect is what we have been missing in wrestling more than anything else. Surprises. That was something in the Monday Night Wars that it didn't happen every week, but it was always on the back of your mind, like, who could jump ship? Who's going to show up here? Like the Lex Luger one was pretty cool, and you would get one once in a while, but it was more exciting, like, who's going to jump ship? Now what you're seeing is a little reminiscent of TNA. Because TNA, back in the early years, when Christian Cage went to TNA, when Booker T went to TNA, I don't want to say Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle worked his ass off in TNA. And I'm not saying the other guys didn't either, but there was one point that even Christian, when he went to TNA, NWA TNA, he did an interview back then, and I'll always remember it. And he said that he loves that he could go home at night to his family, sleep in his own bed, that his schedule is not as crazy as what the WWE schedule was. So a lot of what you're seeing kind of reminds me of the early days of NWA TNA, where some people were leaving WWE for a much lighter schedule, getting paid enough where if they want to do some outside work still, as long as it doesn't interfere with AEW, they can still do it. It's very reminiscent of the early days of NWA TNA. The only difference is we don't have a Bill Barons charging fees to indie promotions, that they used to do at NWA TNA. And if you don't know anything about that, maybe we'll talk about it next week. But, these guys jump and ship, sure. Obviously, they're taking less money than what they would have gotten in WWE. The thing is, though, if you work a little bit less, Daniel Bryan's priorities is being at home with his wife and his family. So if you're going to work for WWE and you're going to have to tour and go on the road a lot more, then yeah, you're going to pay me a lot more money. But if I work for AEW and my schedule is much more limited, but I'm making enough where I could take care of my family, put a little money aside, still be in wrestling. And if I want to do a little bit extra outside, I can, like Adam Cole. You know, I brought it up yesterday. Adam Cole leaving WWE, like one of the biggest factors is that WWE would not let him continue doing what he's doing on Twitch. And I know a lot of people could jump on that and say, oh, because Adam Cole, they won't let him play video games, he left. It's not that easy. And I'm not defending WWE. But the thing is, if they make the exception for Adam Cole, then you almost have to make the exception for everyone else. Well, this person will say it's unfair that this person has it and I can't. Why can't I have it, this and that? So WWE, it's like either you open it up to everybody or you open it up to nobody. That's what it looks like to me. So anyway, that was your pay-per-view. On a scale of 1 to 10, man, I got to be honest with you, seriously. For $49.99, I give it a 10. And trust me, I am not in the back pocket for AEW. I can't even get a press pass to legitimately cover this shit. And I've been doing this stuff since 1997, and I get ignored. So trust me, I ain't looking to get a job with them. I ain't looking to get acknowledgement. I ain't looking for a hand. I ain't looking for a hand job. I'm just giving you straight up. For $49.99, I mean, we got surprises. We got great quality matches. We got title changes. We got, I can't complain. I can't even take any notches off for Paul Wight versus Who Dat. Because for me, that was just, okay, let me go take a break. Let me set up the computer. Big deal, blah, 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 blah. I give it a 10. Give it a 10. My favorite match of the night, Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers. Least favorite match of the night, if we're going to include Paul Wight versus QT Marshall, then I go with that. If you insist to me, Don Tony, you cannot include that match, and you have to include another one instead, boy. No, I'm going to go with that match. No. If QT Marshall is going to be on a pay-per-view and not the buy-in, and he decides that he's going to be in the next to last match of a pay-per-view, following CM Punk and Darby Allin right before Kenny Omega and Christian, then he should be judged just like any other match on that card. That was the worst fucking match on the show. Yeah, I give it a 10. All right. Darren, if that triggers you, I'll give it a 9.5. All right. You know what? I'll give it a 9.5. Because of the Paul Wight QT Marshall match, I take a half a point off. No, Darren's right. The more I think about it, I give it a 9.5. If they would have left that match off entirely, I would have gave it a 10. The fact that Malachi Black didn't even get a match on that show, you should have given me Malachi Black and Lee Johnson. I would have taken that instead, and I would have gave it a 10. So yeah, 9.5 for me. For $49.99, it was worth it. So anyway, I'm going to jet out of here. Everyone, have a great night. Much love to everybody, who joined me, the last couple of days. It was pretty rough. I tried to make it, as real and as, just as good as possible. I mean, how do you talk about subjects like that? I don't shy away from topics like that. Alexis Rodriguez, thank you very much for the super chat. Very, very kind of you. Nero Fay, as always, much love, peace, and I hope you're doing okay. Brian Becerra, much love to you. I'm glad you enjoyed that pay-per-view. I know we did some of these shout-outs earlier, but they're so nice, I like to say it twice. And yes, Mark, you should be able to love AEW and WWE. It shouldn't be a damn competition. And yeah, I can't wait for Wednesday. And Wednesday, it's already like, it's going to be an awesome show, man. Dynamite this Wednesday. You talk about the new NXT, September 14th. It almost feels like the new Dynamite. Now the challenge, like I said, is how they balance out a lot of people on their current roster. Do we start getting some wrestlers privately complaining to people they know online that they're very upset that they're losing opportunity to ex-WWE stars? Let's see if anybody has the kahunas to complain like that, and let's see if the websites and the podcasts who want to be in the back pocket of Tony Khan, if they would be willing to report that. It's going to be interesting. Us, as far as wrestling fans, I think we all agree. We don't give a shit about that stuff. We just want to be entertained. Entertain us, and we're happy. So everyone, have a great night. Much love. Post your comments in the comment section. Tell me your favorite match of the night. What did you think of CM Punk? What do you think about Daniel Bryan? Who do you think his first feud is going to be? Do you think we might get Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega right off the bat? Do you think we get Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole? A lot of things to ponder. And there's nothing wrong with fantasizing. And these guys could still go. Daniel Bryan proved at WrestleMania that the guy could still put on an elite performance in the ring. And my God, look how substantially better he's gotten on the mic over the years. So you got to get kick-ass. But do not expect Daniel Bryan to shit on WWE. I don't expect that at all. Daniel Bryan, I think, is very, very thankful and very gracious for, the time he had in WWE. It was just time to move on. So everyone, have a great night. Enjoy your Labor Day. If you're around tomorrow night, Mish and I will be on for Breakfast Soup Raw. We will cover Raw. And like I said, we will open the phone lines for at least 30 to 45 minutes. If you want to talk about the pay-per-view tonight, let it digest what went down tonight. You want to talk about some of the signings, anything that concerns you about other people on the roster, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Do you want to see anybody else signed? So there's a lot of things that we could talk about. So, and then, like I said, with the sync issues, it's something live. And on the playback last night, everything was fine. So, maybe it's something on my end. I don't know. I'll reset everything. But like I said, there's a lot of people live that don't have any issues. So I don't know. But, I'm always here making sure to try to give you as good of a show as possible. So I'm going to jet out. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Much love. I'll see you tomorrow night after Raw. Ciao, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's alright. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.